Good morning, listeners, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming from RCS Technology Solutions and RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and then retaining their ideal customers and clients using various proven marketing techniques with the Internet. The purpose of this show is to bring on, in the first two episodes, two subject matter experts or pioneers, entrepreneurs, people who have already achieved significant success, so they can talk a little bit about how they did it and hopefully inspire you or give you some advice on ways that you too could achieve even greater success. But cut through, jump a few levels by not making the similar mistakes. Today we have a great guest. Our first guest, I believe, made his first million when he was 16 after starting his first company at 12. Sean Franks is a portfolio manager at Cloud Equity Group, an investment management firm based on Wall Street that focuses on leveraged buyouts of cloud and hosting companies. Sean started his first company when he was 12 years old and built it up into an international conglomerate providing a vast array of web services. Today, he is proudly one of the youngest money managers on the street being Wall Street, with over 50 employees across five international offices. The organization has managed to consistently outperform its benchmark every year since inception. Good morning, Sean. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Excellent. Sorry for butchering a couple parts of your intro there.
It's all good. Monday morning.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I met you, and you're calling in from New York, obviously, right?
Yep, from overcast New York.
Yeah, surprisingly, we're overcast in Boston, too. We just had the tall ships in Boston, and it's a really big deal. And I heard it was the largest flotilla, or however you correctly pronounce the word, of tall ships in the history of them doing this. I know we had a big thing in 76 here, but we had so much fog on Saturday, it was hard to see the first few hours. So.
Oh, wow.
Yep. But this show isn't about the tall ships or weather. So I've met you at the event at Harvard, at the Business Success Entrepreneur Summit there, and I've spoken to you several times. I'm already familiar with you. I know you're a rock star. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you got to this point? Because oftentimes people see someone who is successful or a business owner that's cranking or has a lot of connections like myself or others, and they think that, wow, they're that, but, what they're seeing is really somebody 5 or 10 years later, you know what I mean? Because that's who they are now today, but that was because they spent 5, 10, 15 years getting there. So, an overnight success is often 10 years in the making,
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a very fair. I was just thinking as you said that, there's this T-shirt I saw. I've seen the similar images on the internet, but a T-shirt that I saw kind of recently, and has two images on it. And the first one says what people think success looks like, and it's literally just a straight line left to right. And then there's another one, what success actually looks like, and it's this squiggly line all over the place, and it's very true, and it's literally just what you said. But yeah, I guess for your listeners' reference, just a little bit about me. As you had mentioned, I started my first business when I was 12, just by chance, kind of. It was an internet or web hosting company. At the time, this is when it was very difficult to put websites up on the internet. You really had to know, HTML coding, and PHP was kind of becoming popular. And, it wasn't a skill set that most people had. We didn't have these content management systems like WordPress and Joomla that exist today. And so, it's really just, I learned basic coding, and, I learned how to put it up on the internet. And, a lot of people were like, wow, that's really cool. How did you figure out how to do this? How do you do this? At the time, internet was still coming commercially popular. Most households only had one computer in it. Most people didn't use the internet. It's pre even like AOL Instant Messenger or anything like that. So we're talking a while ago. And so, something kind of clicked with me. I saw that there was a lot of supply. A lot of people a lot of demand. A lot of people were asking, how can I put up a website on the internet? How can you help me? And there's really no supply. That had no other way that they could do it. And I thought to myself, how can I maybe help these people and, maybe make some money at the same time? And so launched my first company, EPI Hosting, and basically I charged my 6th grade class at the time, a couple bucks to, help them put up a website on the internet, and, they would pay me a monthly fee to continue to power it. And before you know, the entire sixth grade class in our school had websites on the internet. And so, kind of fast forward, it grew very quickly. Timing, I guess, played a big part of it. This is sort of the very tail end of the dot-com boom. And so it grew fast, and, I said, how can I grow this, beyond, just sort of my local community and, my class and all of that. And that's when I started looking to, really grow the business more on a macro scale. And so I found that, I realized at an early age that I needed to market and I needed to advertise, but, the business wasn't at a point where, I really had a lot of dollars to invest in marketing and advertising. And so I looked into buying other businesses and sort of growing inorganically. And so, at a young age as well, I kind of took a loan out from my dad, and I was able to buy one of our competitors. Just a company that was sort of coincidentally available on the market. And, I saw that there was sort of a very easy path to grow inorganically in buying out companies. And so that was sort of a path that I took through late middle school, early high school. And, we grew to a pretty sizable size. I think it was probably in maybe 10th grade or something, I realized that I was making more money than most of my teachers. And, that I really had something here. It was turning into sort of, a real money-making machine. And so it was around that time I picked up my first mentor. He was pretty notable, a guy named Andrew McKelvey. He was the CEO of Monster.com, the one who took it public. And he really taught me how to legitimize business. Up until this point, I think it's important to understand that, you don't take business classes as a middle school student, and you don't take business classes, early on in high school. So everything that I knew was very much self-taught. And, so I was good at what I could do, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And so Andy really taught me how to legitimize the business, the importance of delegation, how to expand operations, how to maybe move internationally. And then most importantly, he taught me how to really sort of add structure to the M&A process and how you can sort of continue to grow inorganically, but do so on a much larger scale, infusing debt into the mix and maybe bringing out outside capital to help fund, investments. And so I started, shifting at that point from using my own money and using, money that my parents had lent me as loans to buy businesses, and starting to, use outside capital and grow like that. And we started on a small scale, 10,000, 100,000, businesses of that nature. And, before you knew it, we were buying multi-million-dollar businesses. So then fast forward, I guess.
Have you graduated? Wait a minute, Sean. Have you graduated high school yet? I love it. I mean, yeah, go ahead. Keep going. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I think that's very much sort of the crossover. It's sort of late, like the graduation of high school into the first couple of years of college is sort of when that all took place. And then it was right after college, so we're talking, maybe 2003, or it was probably like 2013. And that's when I decided, this is sort of what I want to do, and I wanted to legitimize it and do it on an even larger scale than I was, and so launched Cloud Equity Group, which is the current company that I work for right now. As you had mentioned, we're an investment manager on Wall Street. We specialize in leverage buyouts of all sorts of cloud tech. And we're the first money manager with a dividend-focused model within the cloud sector, and right now the largest today. And that brings us to today.
Yeah. Now, Sean, you've talked tremendous, and I'll go back and touch on some of those points, but you haven't even had your 30th birthday yet, have you?
That's correct. I actually just celebrated my 28th birthday this last Saturday, June 17th. So I'm 28, freshly 28.
Listeners, did you hear what he just said? Everything he just said to you, he's 28 right now. So, most 12-year-olds, they're worrying about, I don't even know what 12-year-olds worry about, but, probably getting how many subscribers? Yeah, how many subscribers they have on Snapchat or something? You know what I mean? And
right.
Here you are creating entire. And I like the way you talked about going all the way back to writing code and stuff, because people don't realize that. I mean, I was writing code. I'm just a little bit north of 29 myself, right? But I was writing code before Front Page came out, so I go back, you know what I mean? So we were doing COPL, C++, Perl, all that stuff, VP 6.0, and so, but you're right, and that is a kind of like almost a lost art, and but I really like how you talked about marketing is that is like 90% of a business's success. You can have the best products and you can have the best services, but if people don't know you exist, how are they going to buy from you or utilize your services, right? So when you found yourself at that point, you didn't have a lot of money to do the marketing, so you were creative enough to figure out another way of doing it. And, there's, many larger companies. I mean, you were like 12 or 14 or 15. So, I mean, this is, hugely incredible that you thought about this. But many companies will just buy another company to grow because that other company's already done the research and the development, and they've already done the marketing, and they've already developed a successful product. If they didn't develop a successful product, you're not going to buy them, right? So,
Sure.
So by you buying them, you've already bought a winner without any guesswork. So I just love that the whole process you took is phenomenal. And I hope the listeners get this: 12, 14, 16, buying, multi-million-dollar companies right out of high school, first, second year of college. That's phenomenal, guy.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, and there's sort of another lesson to be learned there that sort of relates to entrepreneurship itself. One of the, points looking back sort of on my career and sort of those age benchmarks that you mentioned is that, a lot of people ask, why do you start your first business, or how do you know this is what you want to do? Because a lot of people think that, the idea that I had when I was 12 and I said, okay, how can I monetize what I'm doing, was really because I foresaw what I was going to do at 28, and it was just a straight line, sort of as I alluded to before. But the reality is that's not how it is. You have to adapt, and times change, and you just need to be able to see opportunity and just be able to go with the opportunity. And, when I started off when I was 12, I was literally just monetizing something small because I wanted to make a couple of bucks. And then as it grew and I started, growing my company and then ultimately doing acquisitions, it was just sort of the next logical thing to do strategically. But there was never a point in time, pre-high school or, pre-college where I said, I want to be a money manager on Wall Street, or I want to do leverage buyouts, or, this or that. It's just opportunities present themselves, and you need to be able to, see these opportunities and capture them. And so, the point I'm at now is never a point that I saw, and, where I may be 10 years from now may not necessarily be a point that I'm looking forward to right now. And so, I think that's just sort of a very powerful part of the whole story. You just need to be able to see that there is no straight line to success, and you need to be able to, acknowledge that there are different roads and different paths, and things will change, and you just need to be able to adapt and evolve.
I think that's huge too, and I tell a lot of my clients that. Like I've had some clients come to us. We do internet marketing and stuff like that, and we create a business plan for them, or they already have one. But sometimes, like they don't even realize that they have another gem that they're sitting on, or another aspect of a service that they can provide that they're not even really considering. And tying that into what you just said, I think your goal is your goal. Your destination is, where you want to be in X amount of years is, that's kind of set. And it might not be set in a specific career. It might not be set on a specific location like the Caribbean with a nice house and a pool. But, you need to stay focused on your goals, but flexible on how you achieve them. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people think, and I think what's discouraging to a lot of people is that, and I'm sort of going to paraphrase Mark Zuckerberg a little bit here. I don't know if you caught his commencement speech at Harvard, but I thought it was a very good one that he gave just last month. But he talks about how there's this sort of connotation, and it's prominently portrayed in the media, that these industry titans, whether it be Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, just have this eureka moment where just everything clicks. They see an opportunity, they follow it, and it takes off, and that's it. But it's sort of a dangerous thought because it makes everyone else just feel inadequate. It makes them feel like, why haven't I had that eureka moment? I can't do this. But in reality, there's probably no entrepreneur who will tell you that's the case. And as you mentioned sort of in the intro to this segment, people only see the final product of the entrepreneur. They see the guy who has the house in the Caribbean with the yacht and the beautiful wife and kids and all of that, and they're like, wow, he has everything. But they don't see everything that led up to that. And for almost all, I'd say probably for every single successful entrepreneur, it's a messy road, and it has all its trials and tribulations, but such that they've been able to overcome.
Yeah, I love it, man. And you're a true entrepreneur. I mean, I'm actually, normally I have a seat here and I'm sitting down. I'm actually standing up. I'm excited. You know what I mean? I love talking to people like you because it's like how I am too. But we're kind of different, like a 12-year-old. The average 12-year-old didn't see what you saw. And even if they saw it, they didn't take the steps to make it happen. You know what I mean? So I can't, you're not normal. Sorry, but in a good way, you know what I mean? And that's a really good thing because, some people are, they have a path to follow, and other people, they don't even know what their path is to follow, but they're just so creative and they're just so driven, and they just keep, and that's kind of like one of the persons you are, and I'd like to think myself is as well. But we got about 10 minutes left, 8 to 10 minutes. Could you possibly give the listeners like one or two, certainly tell us what you're doing right now, but then also maybe one or two things, somebody who's starting out in business or somebody who's been in business and maybe hit a plateau and wants to take it to the next level. What are one or two or maybe three tips that they could do to accelerate that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've got a ton. I think one of the most important things is that you need to be able to accept risk, and you need to be able to not give up. And so it's sort of touching on sort of what you just alluded to. You sort of said, how I'm a little different. And I don't think that I'm atypical in that. I think anyone who's an entrepreneur is different. And I'll tell you why. In society today, you're sort of taught that you need to be a doctor, you need to be a lawyer, you need to be a teacher. You're sort of infused in your brain at a young age that you need to follow sort of a traditional career path, go to college, then, go to, grad school, then, become a teacher, as an example. But they don't teach you that there's sort of an opportunity where you can create something, where you can choose not to follow that norm and you can do something else. And that's really why I think that there's not a lot of entrepreneurs in today's society, because it's a risk to divert from that norm to decide that you want to do something that, you're not being taught to do. And it's really sort of a problem in the schooling system today. But so in sort of getting to your question, I think that the number one thing that people who either are starting a business or, are trying to build their business or have reached that plateau is you need to be able to accept that, you're taking a risk and you're going against the norm, and you have to be okay with that and you have to be comfortable with that. You have to be willing to take chances and to really follow your passions and your dreams. And so it's not necessarily always easy. You're going to, hit hurdles and roadblocks. Maybe you get some customers and you can't figure out how to get more, or, your margins are too low and you can't figure out how to renegotiate your contracts or get better terms with your upstream providers. But at the end of the day, it's sort of, you can't give up. You need to, keep going, and you need to, really be able to look at problems in different ways and adapt. Okay, maybe this isn't the right vendor to use. It's going to set me back, but long term, I should be going with a different one. Maybe I need to take out some debt so I can, pay up front to get better terms on, whatever's down the road. You need to be able to just kind of look at things dynamically and realize that, the business model that maybe you put in place 4 months ago or 4 years ago or whatever may not be relevant anymore today. And you need to be able to continuously, update and change the way that you look at things, and realize that, times change, and the strategy, or methodology that you had at one point in time may not, continue to be relevant, or may not even be relevant at all to begin with. And so I think that the people who find success and become, the Mark Zuckerbergs, or, even just the people who run a successful accounting firm on the side of the street making a nice living for themselves, are the people who recognize that there is no, black and white path to building a successful business, because then everyone else would do it. And, life is literally all about sort of ups and downs, and, you need to be able to take the downs and look at things constructively and figure out how can I change my methodology and what I'm doing. And, just keep pushing forward and see what you can do.
That's excellent. And I agree with you, too. I think, I'm certainly not an educator and I don't want to piss anybody off, but I agree with you. I think the school systems are basically teaching people how to pass tests and grow up to make other people wealthy, by making employees and people who get jobs to support other people's dreams. And the definition of being an entrepreneur is being, if you look it up in the dictionary, being able to withstand risk. The ability to withstand risk is what an entrepreneur is. So you're right. I thoroughly agree with all that. Are you going to Hollywood? You're a member of Karma as well, correct?
Yes, I am a member of Karma. I know that you had Marvin Epstein speak a couple weeks ago. I actually listened to him. He's a good friend, so I'll be seeing him later this week.
Yeah, you're going to Hollywood?
Yep, I'll be there.
Yeah, excellent. I'm going too. And
okay, great.
Yeah, for the listeners, Karma International is a huge organization that you really need to check out. There's people like Sean Franks in there. Myself I am going to be a member, but I'm definitely going to this event. And Marvin Epstein, who you heard a couple of weeks ago, Marvin also, Sean, gave away 2 free tickets, or he's giving away 2 free tickets. The winner,
oh, wow.
That's
high value.
Really, because you can't even get in. Now, Maxim Magazine has a top 100. This is their 17th year of doing it. Karma is putting that on with them, and it's the top 100 most beautiful women. 80% show up. They have they have the best DJs coming in, VIP food. I mean, you can't imagine it. And that's the 24th in Hollywood. If you guys want a free ticket, I'm going to tell you how you can get that in a second. But also, the next day on the 25th is the pool party from 12 to 9, I believe it is, again with, DJs, really high-end DJs. But, you talk about stars and celebrities and beautiful people and connections. Getting out there, getting next to people, building relationships with people who have already done it or are in the process of doing it, surrounding yourself with like-minded people. And I want to give the listeners a real bit of advice here. And Sean, please correct me if I'm wrong. But the vast majority of business deals are not done in the boardroom. The boardrooms and the meeting rooms are where facts get passed back and forth and possibly contracts get signed. But the actual deals, the decisions, whether or not to do business with someone is done outside. And often it's done whether they're playing golf or they're going to parties. You just meet people, you build a relationship, and over time it develops to a point where, you can, you just set your terms, right? Am I correct on that?
Yeah, no, that's 100% accurate. When we first started out and we were sort of soft feeling the market, what's a good marketing message that we should have and how should we approach? And I'm referring to our investment management company, Cloud Equity Group. At the end of the day, we're asking investors to trust us with their money, and we're saying that we can accumulate more wealth from them than, just putting in the S&P 500 or, giving it to a hedge fund or some other money manager, right? And so this was a very important piece of advice that I got very early on. I said, Sean, in this day and age, you never know who's legitimate and who's not. Everyone's got a great idea, and everyone's going to tell you that they can do the best thing. And it really comes down to just finding the honest, genuine, and true people, and that's who I trust with my money. And so that's really what you're referring to here. If you can sort of hang out with people and connect with people in a social setting and develop maybe a friendship with them, whether it be an investor, whether it be, a vendor, a customer, anything like that, I think that translates into the business world very much so. And also, even just sort of getting past that, just circling back to this whole idea of, the schooling system doesn't train people to be entrepreneurs. If you're, trying to start a business, you're trying to start an accounting firm, you may not have a lot of friends or, mentors or people in your close-knit circle that can relate to you, that can talk about the struggles of being an entrepreneur with you, who can maybe bounce ideas off of you. But it's through organizations maybe like Karma where you're in a room with a lot of people who are very like-minded. And so you can have those conversations and you can learn, maybe someone's not running the same exact kind of business as you, but they're running a business. And so they can talk to you about, where have they found success, where have they found failures, where can they maybe give you advice. And, to your point, it's very easy and casual to do things like this in, a social setting as opposed to trying to track down, someone and have sort of a phone call and a really structured meeting and this and that. So there's definitely a lot of value for, someone who's serious about business or connecting with people or just, generally networking, for an organization like Karma.
Exactly. And remember, folks, you're not going to find a blue marlin in a fishbowl. So if you're going to the free networking events where they have pizza or you're hanging around with other people who are neck deep in MLMs, that's cool. You might get some business out of that. But if you're really looking to scale, you need to put yourself in a room where people pay, because people who pay attention. If you pay, that means they paid. So, they're investing in themselves. They're investing in their future. So, I highly recommend that. Sean, I'm going to give information about Commer, and then I would like you, I'm going to give you a minute or two to think, and then I'd like you to, who's your ideal customer? If somebody's listening, if they know somebody that they can refer to you, or if they are in fact somebody, and then obviously how they can contact you. Marvin Epstein, the founder of Commer International, has graciously said our listeners can get 2 free tickets. In order to be considered for one of these 2 free tickets, you need to go to the website, Commer International. You need to look at their website and then send me an email at Ron, R-O-N, at rcstechnologysolutions.com, and send me an email and tell me one example where Commer has played a really good part in your life. Then I'm going to collect all these emails. I'm going to send them to Marvin, and he's going to pick the winner. And as you heard Sean say and myself, this is a massive, massive invite-only event. So you want to be there, and especially since it's free. I paid to go. It wasn't free for me, and I'm sure Sean did too.
It's not free for me either.
But you can go for free. I'm like, man, Marvin, can I get a ticket? He's like, no. But no, he's a good guy. I'm only joking. But he's giving away 2 free tickets to the event, and Marvin's an excellent guy. He's becoming a mentor of mine, so I really appreciate him and everything he's done. But anyhow, now, Sean, can you tell us a little bit about what's your ideal customer and client, and then how they can contact you in 2-3 minutes?
Yeah, well, yes and no. So unfortunately, in being sort of a money manager on Wall Street, we have sort of SEC compliance rules that we have to adhere to. And so it's very difficult for us to solicit generally customers. But what I will say, just for any accredited investors on the line, is that we are a sophisticated money manager, and if you want to learn more information about what we're investing in, or maybe track record or sort of opportunities that exist within cloud and tech hosting sector, for leveraged buyout fund that specializes in dividends, you can check out our website at cloudequitygroup.com, and there'll be information on there how you can submit your contact information. Someone from our office will reach out. But I guess sort of circling back to karma to talk about that, and just generally. I don't want to say give company names or names of people specifically who are in it, but just sort of the people that you will be rubbing shoulders with if you attend this event, or generally other karma events. It's a lot of high-level CEOs. It's a lot of people who have been in the news, people who maybe you would recognize or you can very easily search up. So it's definitely a good crowd that, even if you're not necessarily into going to a party or pool party or just, one of the other many events that they host, happy hours, whatever, it is a good group crowd that you want to rub shoulders with and that you want to get to know, and most importantly, that you want to know you.
Excellent. Yeah, that's definitely important. Sean, you're a rock star. My only regret about this interview is we didn't give you the 2 episodes. If you had the time, we would have definitely done that. Maybe in the future, you might be able to come back on a couple of months when you can spare some time. I want to thank you very much. And listeners, you've been listening to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming from RCS Technology Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success using various internet marketing methods and techniques to attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients.